Hey everybody, so I'm going to be going over cooperative language learning in your classroom and how you can work it in to an activity. And I'm just going to go over 6 important traits that it's going to help your students, especially your ESL students, and everybody else in your classroom is going to also get the benefits from this type of activity. First one is it's going to increase frequency and variety of second language practice through different types of interaction. So that's going to be the interaction that your students are going to have with each other. It's a possibility for development and then also language, supporting language in different ways, going to help increase the students' language. So with them learning new vocabulary and using that vocabulary in the correct ways in the different content that you're using, it's going to be really beneficial for them, to be helpful for them to know. This is going to be an opportunity to integrate language into your content-based instruction. Students are really going to know what they're learning, how to use it, and when to use it, especially with the different content that you have. So you can use this type of learning through any content areas, which is great. It's also going to be an opportunity to include greater variety of materials. So in any material that you're going to use, especially if it's going to be helpful for your students, so you can use articles, novels, books, trade books if you're in elementary, something with pictures but has a lot of words. You can group your kids together depending on level of literacy. This is going to be a freedom for you as a teacher, so you're going to be able to step back, observe, watch your students, help them, and with communication. So you're going to be communicating with your students as well, and your students are going to be communicating with each other, which is going to be really helpful for them, and especially with learning that language. And it's going to be very comfortable once you have done it over and over again. It's going to be an opportunity for the students to be a resource for each other. If they're learning it together as a class, as a group, somebody may find different research than somebody else, and then when they come back and collab together, they learn something. So they're able to be their own teacher and teaching each other, and everybody learns so much from somebody else, especially when it's different people. It's not only just you giving that instruction in the classroom, you're letting your kids, do a little bit of free time and learn together. So it's really fun. There's 2 different activities that I really like to do, and you can do these activities starting from 2nd grade all the way up to your 12th grade learners. The first one is going to be Jigsaw. So Jigsaw is actually really fun. You can do this in an English class, you can do this in social studies, history. It's really fun. If you have like different articles that are going to be a theme for something that you're learning, then kids can go ahead and read those articles, news articles. They could look at something online. They can be reading novels, short chapters. It's going to be beneficial for a Jigsaw. So what you want to do is make sure that you have your students in a home group. So they're always going to be in the home group. You can break off your students however you want to, just depending on what you want to do and how many ESLs you have. You want to make sure that they're in groups where they're going to be able to. So you as a teacher already know how to break your groups up, who works good together and who doesn't, right? You want to make sure that you have your expert groups. So you're going to have 2 different groups made. Make sure you have your team groups, and then you're going to have your expert groups, because your expert groups are going to be the ones that they're going to break off from that team, and they're going to go and learn that topic that you want them to learn. So every expert group is going to have a different topic of what they're learning. And then when they come back together at the end to their home group, they're all going to teach each other what they learned. So it's really important that when they're in their expert groups in Jigsaw, that they're reading the material and they're with other people in that group learning the same topic. So if you have 4 or 5 kids in an expert group learning a topic together, they're all reading, researching, gathering their notes together as a team before they go back to their home groups to go and teach everybody. If you have 4 to 5 people in your home group, well, they're all going to each talk about the topics that they learned, and they're going to teach each other, and that's where they're going to also write their notes on like what they learned. So this is going to really help them with their communication. It's going to really bring together that vocabulary. They're going to be looking at vocabulary. Maybe somebody doesn't know a vocabulary word, but another person in their expert group does, and they can go over that together. And you as a teacher, of course, are going to be walking around, looking at what the students are doing, helping them, scaffolding, asking questions, but this time you have your ESLs and you're making sure that everybody's getting the right information and writing things down so that they can go back to their home group and teach. I wouldn't say that you could do this with a kindergarten class or a first grade class. Second grade, I think you can, squeeze this kind of jigsaw in at the end of a semester, when you've got them into like cooperative learning. I feel like you can get them used to doing something like that. Elementary level, I like to personally do literary circles, and literary circles are really fun. You can do literary circles with books, trade books, short stories. It gets them reading and it gets them knowing the characters, the plot, the scenes, what the story looks like, so they can, get used to reading, get used to talking, get used to conversating with each other. And this is really cool for younger kids as well. Everybody's gonna have a role. And so you would have 7 kids in a group. Roles are, in the literary circle, you have discussion director, you have a literary luminary, you have a vocabulary enricher, you also have a summarizer, an illustrator, and a connector. Each of those roles are going to be doing something. So the discussion director is going to basically hold down the group. Like, you want to stay on topic. They want to make sure that their team is on topic. They don't veer off and talk about something else. If a friend is, talking about something that's not about what they're reading, that discussion director is going to be, hey, like, we need to stay on topic, like, this is what we need to talk about, and kind of like hold the group together. So you want to make sure that you have that person in your class, which everybody does, who is super organized. They're going to be that director. For the literary luminary, what that person's going to do is going to take out quotes in what they were reading, something that's important that they felt was really important in the book or the novel or article that they're reading, and they're going to write that down. It could be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3 different things that they feel is really important that they just read, and they're going to talk about that in their literary circle and why they thought it was important. And then they're also going to bring in other kids to say, what did you think about that? Like, do you think this is an important scene or a topic or a phrase? And that gets the kids talking as well about what they just read. Vocabulary enricher, that person is going to look at different vocabulary words, maybe that they have not seen before. Maybe they're gonna say like, oh, I've never seen the word deadlocked. Like, oh, I've never seen that word before. We've never come across that word. Looking at the word wall that we have, they are gonna go into their little dictionary, and make sure you provide dictionaries for them. So they're going to go in, look up the word, what does it mean, bring it back into that sentence of the content vocabulary word they're choosing, or something that the kids maybe have never seen before, they don't know, and interacting that vocabulary with what they have just learned. The summarizer, so basically that person's just going to be summarizing what they read, talking about it, pulling out the key points, and knowing what key points are important. Illustrator, so that's something that's really fun for somebody who's going to draw a picture of what they just read, interacting that with maybe like a good scene, like they saw like the climax of the story, like, ooh, I want to really draw about that and talk about that with my group. So that's something that's really fun for students to do, especially the artsy kids, and they can really take the time to do that and interact that with their group as well. Connector is just going to bring everything together at the end, making sure that they're listening to the discussion, they're listening to the literary, they're listening to the vocabulary, and they're going to bring that in and make that a whole project together. So they can be putting this stuff on a poster board, connecting their different points, and then if you want to have them present whatever they read to the class, you can do something like that with a literary circle. Everybody could be reading different books. So it's something that's super fun for the kids to do. They could have poster board, like the little science flat poster boards, where they can make it like a big project, and it's really fun to see like what the kids learned, how they learned it, what they got from what they just read. Is really see how the kids are comprehending in different ways when you're doing a literary circle, which I think is so fun. It's different. The kids aren't just reading and answering questions on their own. It's something where you can really see like that your kids are learning and understanding and comprehending the content that is being driven across the classroom. And that's how you can use cooperative language learning in your classroom, by using Jigsaw and also by using your literary circles. It can be super fun, guys. I hope you try this out in your classroom. If you have any questions, just ask me below and I will comment back. Thank you. Bye.